everybody, and welcome to a Horror Movie Yearbook. I am Tim.
I'm Willie.
Willie.
Yes.
What's going on?
What's going on? Let's see. We're getting ready for the ballet recital. Very exciting.
I assume not yours.
No.
But if it is, good for you.
I will not be dancing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's exciting. We're getting ready for the end of the school year, which is
A couple weeks away, right?
Concerning.
I got the neighbor girl. I think she's a couple years older than your daughter was. She likes to come over and play with my son. Like,
oh, cool.
We're drawing chocolate, and I'm like, how many weeks? She's like, 2 more weeks. She's like, I'm ready.
Yeah, yeah, my word. So there's that.
Are you ready?
No, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. We've got her signed up for some camps and stuff. I have question marks about how we're going to pull this one off.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm back in the office.
Yeah.
3 days a week.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Anyway, so that's cool. What else we got?
We're going to talk a little about summer camps here in a second because we had some Crystal Lake.
That was not an intentional segue, but I love it. What else? I've been doing a good job of I've made some kind of fun little like kind of life goals for myself, or like weekly goals for myself.
Yeah.
One of them is to watch a couple of movies I have not seen, new movies, every week. I think I'm on track to. I think I'm there.
Have you started anything this week?
I finished The Accountant finally.
Okay.
So that was good. And I'm halfway.
You're ready for The Accountant too.
Hell yeah, dude! That movie was sweet.
I like The Accountant. It's a cool. I'm glad.
It was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad it's like picked up. I'm glad people have
Agreed.
started to discover it as it's.
The end of Accountant's really weird though. It's funny,
yeah,
because it's like this big action sequence, and then it just kind of stops. I'm like, what? Okay. But I really like it. They do waste John Lithgow though.
I forgot he was in the movie. Yeah,
exactly.
Lithgow is in a horror movie I want to recommend. It's on Shudder right now. I liked it, didn't love it, but I know a lot of people love it. It's called The Rule of Jenny Penn, and it takes place in a he plays like kind of a creep in a old folks home.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's good.
I like Lithgow a lot.
Yeah.
He's
Jeffrey Rush is the other actor, and I couldn't remember the other actor.
Jeffrey.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
halfway through Heart Eyes. Heart Eyes. I can't say Heart Eyes.
Oh, okay.
Halfway through Heart Eyes.
I like that actually.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun so far. I think it does a better job of balancing the horror and the comedy than the Christmas one with Justin Long that we reviewed.
It's a Wonderful Knife.
Yeah, I think this has been better for me.
Same writer, I feel like.
I think it is
Christopher Landon, who was attached to the screen.
I like this one better.
So I will say this too. Josh Rubin is the director. I have not been crazy about his stuff. He did Werewolves Within, and then a movie called Scare Me, and I really disliked Scare Me. Werewolves Within just didn't work for me. I get why people like it.
Sure.
But this is the first one that fully worked for me, and I think it was the pairing of the two guys. Him and Landon, I think, worked well together.
And the two leads are very good.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
I like, is it Mason Gooding?
Yeah. Yep.
I like him.
And then, God, the actress is from that Cloak and Dagger show that was on
Hulu for a little bit?
Yeah.
I never watched that.
It's
you watch
fun.
It? Is it good? Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. It's nice, light teenage superhero stuff, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it. Yeah, so that I'm halfway through that, and I'm having fun.
Good. I thought I watched another movie I was going to recommend to you.
And I saw Twisters and Gladiator 2. I don't think I talked about that last time.
Oh, what do you think of those?
Neither one of those movies needed a sequel. They're both 90. Well, Gladiator was 2000, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just on Twister was a 90s movie. Gladiator might as well have been a 90s movie.
Yeah.
I had fun with both of them, so whatever. Denzel rules. I'm going to keep selling you on this one, and eventually I know you'll watch it.
No, I just have it. You sold me on it. I got to build.
You got to get it in
build
there,
a time.
yeah,
Yes,
yep.
and I forgot about. I actually remember today. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I got to watch Gladiator too.
You'll love Denzel. And Twisters, Twisters was fun. Twisters felt very legitimately like 90s action movie to me, like action thriller.
Yes.
But it wasn't like trying to be that. It was just kind of like naturally kind of fit in with those that style of movie.
Yes.
We had a lot of those like natural disaster action movies from that time period with like a ragtag group. It was like that was just there was a whole vibe with action movies for a while there in the 90s, and this fits right alongside those. So I enjoyed that too. But yeah,
Companion was the movie I was thinking about.
I really want to watch that. What is that on currently? Do you know?
That might be Max. That may have just come out on Max.
Yeah,
actually,
see, it's funny. I've been saying for, I think, like 4 years, like, God, I got to get Max so I can watch all this stuff. I think it's time to do it now.
Yeah, I think
there's probably so much stuff on there for me to watch at this point that I've missed.
Wait till August when Peacemaker 2 comes out. Season 2 comes out. Because I think if you have not seen Peacemaker, I think Peacemaker. I would be shocked. Yeah, if you watch season 1, I would be shocked if you didn't
enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I would be too. I liked Suicide Squad. So.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, but I liked it. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll wait a little bit longer. Might be nice to get for the summer or something. I like that.
So here's what I want to do real quick.
All right.
It's happening. Like, Jason stuff is happening. We are Jason fans.
It's happening.
Jason Voorhees fans. Friday the 13th fans.
Yes.
And, like, stuff is happening. Now, the stuff is all the Peacock series. And then maybe the video game might be coming back. I don't know. Like,
it's interesting because stuff is happening, but it seems to be two different camps.
Right.
But I think everybody needs to sign off on it, though, still.
Okay.
I think that's how it works.
So the Peacock thing is not necessarily a go yet. Well, the
Peacock thing's happening.
The Peacock thing is filming next month.
No, this is happening.
Right.
Crystal Lake as a show is happening.
Yeah. I keep calling it the Peacock thing because that's, yeah.
But I think it's more Victor Miller's camp that...
Because they had a plan going into this where they know they can only use certain aspects.
Correct.
And they said, okay.
But I'm fairly certain that the Horror Inc. side of it also agreed to be involved as well.
Okay.
Because I think under the Victor Miller agreement, they can't use Jason.
That's the thing, yeah.
Like with a hockey mask.
Right.
If you're going to make a Crystal Lake show, I do not want to watch, I'll be honest with you. I really like Linda Cardellini. I think it's an awesome casting choice.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the show's going to be, but I do not want to wait 4 seasons to get Jason in a hockey mask. Does that make sense?
No, and I get where you're coming from, but I think this. So here's where I'm at.
I don't need it in episode 1 either, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool with like a
build to it.
Absolutely, but like I don't want the Marvel Netflix shows issue of like they don't put a mask on until.
There's a worse example of this.
What's that?
Smallville. Remember Smallville?
Jesus. Yes. Okay.
Smallville. Like he did not dress in the suit until like the last season, right? Or like
the last seconds of the show.
Yes.
That was like a 9-season show.
Yes.
10 seasons or something.
Amy loves that show. I kind of want to go back and watch it with Amy and my wife.
I don't think I could do it.
I think I could pull it off.
I know you can do it. I don't think I can do it.
So, okay, back to Crystal Lake. So I know where you're coming from, and I'm not saying I disagree with you, but
sure.
Like, there's a part of me this whole time, and I think I've said it to you, and even on this podcast, where I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it with this show. Like, I don't even think it's happening. And then we got the Linda Cardellini thing, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is happening.
This might be happening.
And then I saw, like, recently, I'm like, oh, they're shooting next month. Like, this is going to happen.
Unless, don't say anything. We're about to talk about a couple of films where the third installment was literally shooting for like 4 days, and then it just shut down. So let's just wait.
So my hope is because they have a big parent company behind it. You never know these days, because parent companies these days will just write it off for tax purposes. So I've decided, though.
I'm pretty sure it's happening.
I've decided to be. I'm not even going to say optimistic, because my feeling, and I'm pretty consistent with this, especially with a series I love, is I just want something to exist so I can either dislike it or like it and just critique it. I just want it out there.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because like I do agree with you.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like I'm being critical already for something that hasn't even. But I
understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
Friday the 13th is weird for me. So like it's what you just said in regards to like I'm just happy that something exists. I don't feel that way with everything I love. Like,
okay.
I don't want. There's a couple franchises where like whatever version or iteration of it comes out, like even if I don't like it, I'm cool with it. I'm just happy it's still. Turtles is a good one.
Yeah.
Not every iteration of Turtles is for me.
Right.
But I'm happy it's still happening. Friday the 13th is the same way for me with that. But there's Godzilla is another one, a good example of that, where like I'm just happy Godzilla movies are being made.
We talked a little bit of this on the Tiny Terror we're going to release next week with Looney Tunes.
Yes.
Where like it's been so long since
I just want Looney Tunes.
I would like them to just keep making stuff. It's been like 20-something years since we got really a Jason movie.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just like, just make something. Just.
I agree.
Oh, so, yeah, I forgot about 2009. Yeah. So
I'm not.
Still,
it's been a long time, dude.
Anyway, sorry.
So I'm not trying to like. Believe me, I'm starving here. So.
Right.
But I will say, like, but I do hope it's good.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't think I'm going to get as much enjoyment out of it if there's like if. We'll see. You know what? We'll see. I just don't know that I don't think they're going to be able to pull a Bates Motel with Crystal Lake for 4 seasons or something.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? I'm not even sure Bates Motel was able to pull off a Bates Motel.
So I like Bates Motel.
Yeah.
And it did start to strain those last couple seasons, but I still ended up liking it. And a lot of that is because of the performance as Freddie.
Do you think they can do that with the Mrs. Voorhees character though?
No.
Right?
Because
I just don't.
Maybe.
We don't know what they're doing.
I don't think they can, but I will be excited if they prove me wrong.
I think it'd be cool to have the show. Now I'm just pitching the show that's already being filmed in like a week. I think it'd be cool to have the show be like half and half. Like, give me flashbacks of her and then give me modern, like, present stuff going on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like police investigating disappearances and stuff modern, like now.
Right.
I think that'd be really cool because then you could have that, like, the fact that like Jason's doing his business out there and stuff, and maybe have him pop up on occasion, kind of like they did with Godzilla on the Monarch show, where like he wasn't on it like all the time, but it was always like he was always like a presence
in the
yeah. That'd be cool. I'd be into that.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the time thing with Monarch too. I didn't think about that. Like they did like the past storyline and then like the present storyline too.
Yeah.
Something like that would be cool. I think. I don't know.
So what I want to do though is on this podcast, me and you, I want to follow this production. You and I, like, I want to when news hits.
Sure.
Like it started to this week. Like we started to get some news. This is exciting for me. So
yes. Yeah. There was a little bit of a breaking news after the Cardellini thing, and then now it's rolling.
I'm gonna start with Crystal Lake here.
Sure.
So there was a casting call in New Jersey, where
I love that.
Yeah, back to Blairstown.
Yep.
Now, it wasn't. I don't think this is. It's just New Jersey. I don't think it's in Blairstown, where they're filming it.
No,
but
I don't think it's. It's not the exact same spot that the original movie was. But
yes.
But it's still the fact that they're doing it in rural New Jersey, and I don't think there's like insane tax breaks for shooting in Jersey either.
No, I don't. No,
they could have shot this in easily in Georgia.
People were talking about with the new Buffy series because there was some back and forth on where they're shooting it, and it sounds like they're going to be shooting it in California. I'm like, good. That's where
it should be.
That's where, and I know it's probably more expensive, but that's where I want it. And yeah, I kind of want Crystal Lake to take place.
I don't want it in Georgia. Yeah,
no, me neither.
I mean, there have been Friday movies shot in Georgia.
Yes. So, but I like that they are taking. This is encouraging to me. Is all I'm trying to say is that they are taking the care to do this. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
So there was a casting call, and there's not a lot of information, but okay. Jeffrey Wilfie Casting is looking for people with natural hair colors. The requirements include no highlights or fantasy colors, quote unquote. Kids and men should have shaggier or longer hair with no modern-looking haircuts, no shaved heads, sides, or edges. Those with facial piercings, ear gauges, visible tattoos should not apply. But they're looking for young people, kids to play high school students between the ages of 14 and 17, kids to portray campers between 8 and 13 years old, and people with 1960 to 71 cars. And I thought I read that they were looking for a principal character or like an older character too. So there you go. That's what we got.
This has to be the campers thing. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? I wonder if the kids. Jason wasn't in high school when he drowned. Correct.
He was not in high school. No.
He was like, what, probably middle school age?
Yes, I would say that.
12, 13 maybe. Maybe 10 even, as young as 10.
I thought it was, I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Not like veer closer to 10.
Not like Josie age, but
right.
like a little older than that. But yeah. So I don't think the high school thing is that, but I'm wondering if maybe like she works like at a, because wasn't she the cook for the camp? Wasn't that the original?
Maybe she's a cafeteria worker.
Yeah, and then she gets an opportunity to do the camp or something.
Right.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So
they're setting this in the 70s.
So this is a period piece. I think 60s.
In the 60s.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Timeline wise, that works. Because first,
I kind of like that too, just because you're not. Sometimes, like with these older properties too, like it's kind of like the Fantastic Four movie that's coming out. I like that they're do the period piece because that's where they work best, or that's where they come from. Yeah. So you don't have to sit there and update. I
agree.
And I think you can have a lot of fun with that.
I think it's cooler to do it that way.
Yeah.
I think it makes the show more interesting right out of the gate.
Me too, because we don't get a lot of like 60s nostalgia pieces these days. No, because we're 60 years away from the 1960s.
That's nuts.
And we're returning to Jersey. We talked a little bit about that. Jersey Tucky could play a role.
Gotta love that.
For those who don't know, Jersey Tucky refers to some of the more colorful characters in the franchise who are like hillbillies.
Yeah, no, like there are. Jersey's weird because like there are like very woodsy rural parts of Jersey where there are essentially like northeast hillbillies.
Right.
But they don't talk like this.
Yeah, they don't speak in southern accents.
But like in the Friday movies, nobody cares. So they're just like, no, talk like you're from.
You're a hillbilly. You're from.
Yes.
They're all made by people from like California and shit.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like, you're a hillbilly.
If you live in the woods, you talk with a southern accent.
Yes, because I'm with you. I grew up in a place where there are a bunch of hillbillies and nobody talked with a southern accent. Where I grew up, they all talked with Canadian. They were just Canadian hillbillies.
Northern Michigan, is very similar to the South,
right?
In terms of kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
And but they certainly don't talk like people in the South. So I always, that's why we call it Jersey Tucky, because it's like there's a small pocket of New Jersey that Camp Crystal Lake happens to sit in.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, there's some sort of wormhole where people from Kentucky have been.
The only place that's really weird like that is that I've been is Indiana's similar in some ways.
Indiana's a weird one.
Because Indiana's weird because you get on the border of Michigan, and you kind of like that Canadian Michigan hillbilly.
They get that Midwest.
Yeah, that Midwest hillbilly because it's kind of with Chicago too.
Sure.
And then you get towards Indianapolis, and it is a little bit more urban, a little bit more city.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get closer to Kentucky, and you're like, "Whoa!" Like it is like it's a Southern accent now.
But Indiana is the bridge between the Midwest and the South, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think Kentucky's technically considered the Midwest, isn't it?
So I always go by college sports conferences, and they're in the SEC, so like the Southeastern Conference. Okay. So to me, it's the South.
Okay,
but Middle
fair.
America South. Yeah.
Cool.
Then the other. Well, okay. So there are a couple big pieces of Jason News. The other one I'm going to talk about after. And this one though is okay. So we talked a little bit about. So this next piece of news, I guess, and it's not even news, is part of the thing that annoys me. This is annoying. So this is Horror Inc. came out with a Jason design last week.
Okay, real quick, can I hold on before we talk about the Jason design?
You're gonna have to fill me in because I spent the whole time reading the article rolling my eyes
because it's important, right? This is important stuff. If I recall correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there was a bit of an announcement not long after the whole thing was settled with the lawsuit. There was some sort of like announcement by Horror Inc. and Sean Cunningham of like, we're starting a thing called Jason Universe.
Thank you. Yes,
there was an announcement initially, but like there was literally nothing to. I think Jason was in. He popped up in a fighting game.
Was it Mortal Kombat?
No. That was before. He popped up in it's a game where you can play as like characters from like Warner Brothers properties.
Oh, the DC game?
Like there's DC characters in it. No, not Injustice. There's another game that's like Smash Brothers style that like you can play as Jason in it.
Okay.
But you can also play as like Michelangelo.
Oh, is it Multiverses?
Yes.
Okay, man.
He's in that.
Okay.
But that was like the only thing they ever announced from Jason Universe.
Well, they have the logo, the Jason Universe logo.
Yes.
I believe you could go back and listen. I believe we ragged on it at the time too. We're like, what is this? What? And you know what? I believe if you go back and listen, we're being proven right now. They have no plan for this. It's just complete bullshit.
It's huckster stuff.
It's Sean. This is the Sean Cunningham side of things.
Yes, this is very much Carney stuff. It's very much them. I guess I'm assuming they just want people to start like reaching out to them.
Yes.
To like give them money to do stuff. I think because that's kind of what happened when that was the initial. He put an ad in a paper for a movie that didn't exist. Yeah, there was no script, and like tons of people bit. I think it's just doing that again.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, he has. So what was they released a Jason Voorhees design this week, right? Is what happened,
they released
this past
a
week?
45th anniversary logo.
Okay.
So somebody made a logo.
Okay.
They made sure to mention that the text on the logo is a machete metal finish.
Okay. Oh, that's exciting. You know what gets me and fellow horror fans and fellow Jason Voorhees is font. We love like font choices.
Here's some of the quotes. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Vice President of Horror Inc., Robbie Barsamian.
Okay.
I never trust an adult named Robbie. Okay. Jason is one of horror's definitive villains, and we've been hard at work to bring him back into the spotlight with our latest iteration.
Latest iteration of what?
Of what? Jason's fans are incredibly dedicated, and we're stoked to show them everything we have in store, kicking off with the 45th anniversary across all mediums.
Once again, we keep hearing this, and I haven't seen. Well, all we've seen is the multiverse.
This is like Trump endorsing, like trying to like sell us on this. Yes. Like he's just saying stuff. I'm not comparing Robbie to Trump. Maybe a little bit. As we mark the 45th anniversary of the Friday the 13th franchise, it's truly exciting to reawaken the legacy of Jason Voorhees with Horror Inc. in a way that feels both fresh and true to the character, said Mark Toberoff on behalf of Friday the 13th LLC. So they've got like a sub company that they're probably laundering money through.
Yes, like anybody can just start an LLC,
it's
right?
Incredible. This is a milestone moment for us and Horror Inc., and we're both proud to give fans a thrilling new chapter worthy of Jason's enduring legend.
Okay,
and it's so
this is an amazing amount of like bullshit. Like,
here's what they released: this fucking thing
that is awful looking.
It's terrible. And
this literally looks when I was a kid like MS Paint or like
I could do that. I could do that.
You just do that with the graffiti tool or whatever.
I have no artistic ability, and I could do that. And then this video, that's 14 seconds long.
Okay, so it's like a shot of the mask, of course, a shadowy shot of the mask, and then more shots of the mask, and then Jason Universe. Okay, kill cha cha cha.
Well, and it didn't even say it. It said J, sa.
Oh, is that what it said?
Yeah, okay. It's freaking stupid. Then
we should just start a Horror Inc. podcast.
We could do that. I'm not even upset about any of this, by the way.
No,
I don't care. This is hilarious.
I'm annoyed. I'm slightly annoyed.
This is hilarious.
Yeah,
but it means nothing.
Right.
Then they released a new design for Jason.
This is what I'm. Yeah.
Which is essentially the design that he's had for the last.
I'm looking at it. I'm going like, okay,
it's Jason.
This does look like Jason.
But they made a point to say we put 13 holes in the mask. And they said Greg Nicotero helped create this thing, and this thing is AI generated. I'm sorry.
So and I said
it's either that or Nicotero was like, okay, I guess.
So what happened here is what I'm guessing. What happened here is Sean Cunningham emailed Greg Nicotero's company, or one of these people, maybe Robbie emailed He's like, let me put out some feelers. And then one of Nicotero's interns got back to him and goes, yeah, I'll send you.
Yes, this is Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, let me tell you what I'm working on. And then Greg Nicotero's intern ran it through whatever ChatGPT or AI version and sent it back like, here you go, man.
There you go. Oh, you wanted 13 holes? Okay.
Sick.
Sick, bro. I see what you did.
And then a bunch of the rainforest burned while the AI machine
Yes, exactly. Also that the Jason universe could live on. Here's one that went under the radar. This is a press release. Stryker Entertainment has signed an exclusive partnership with Horror Inc. and Friday the 13th LLC. I would like you to start Googling Stryker Entertainment as we do this so we can see
please,
if this is real or not.
It's William Stryker from the X-Men.
But of course.
Yeah.
Under the agreement, Stryker, in conjunction with Horror's CMO Sherry...
Stryker, S-T-R-I-K?
S-T-R-I-K-E-R, I guess.
Wasn't sure if it's like Striper, the band.
Oh. Under the agreement, Stryker, in conjunction with Horror's CMO, Sherry Khan indeed, will oversee global consumer products for Jason Universe, the definitive umbrella brand for the iconic horror franchise. So they'll already be like, we're the real deal.
Okay.
Yeah. Jason Universe is the real deal. Don't pay attention to those other Jasons out there. The initiative also includes... Okay, now hold on a second. Also includes Friday the 13th, the game. So perhaps there is a new video game coming.
Okay.
And Crystal Lake. So it mentions the show. Giving fans new ways to connect with the legacy of Jason Voorhees through a broad range of merchandise worldwide.
Okay, so I'm going to say this for Stryker. I am on their website right now.
Yes.
And they do have Five Nights at Freddy's in all caps. So they're very proud of that licensing there. As they should be, I'm sure. So here's what it says. Stryker Entertainment is a cutting-edge entertainment marketing agency specializing in the extension of pop culturally relevant brands into powerful and profitable consumer products programs. Okay. Stryker has represented and grown impactful consumer programs domestically and worldwide for properties including the Twilight Saga, the Hunger Games franchise, The Walking Dead, Preacher, Angry Birds, Pacific Rim, Ted, Terminator.
Saw, Creepshow, Night of the Living Dead, Devil's Rejects.
So what have they done though?
They make stuff that you go to a Spencer's and mugs.
So
things like that. So but hold, I want to say something. I want to take back some of my...
Stryker caught some strays from us, but
there's more people that just caught strays from us, and I want to bring it back because I'm reading this press release, which nobody published that I could see.
Right.
It was all just like, look at this stupid Jason.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to clarify some things after having read this, and this is why we're not journalists, even though I technically have my degree in journalism.
We're live on the air. We're figuring out, actually. I think we're doing better than some people.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Horror Inc. is Sean Cunningham's thing. Okay?
Yes.
Friday the 13th LLC is Victor Miller's thing.
Mm-hmm.
They both have that. Now, both of the companies are collaborating on Crystal Lake together.
Okay.
So Cunningham's side and Miller's side have come together to agree they can all make a lot of money by having Peacock make Crystal Lake the TV show and then merchandise the hell out of it.
Okay. And that makes sense.
So I'm okay with this. Jason Universe is still really dumb. And this is that's very much the Sean Cunningham stuff. I can guarantee you. It's so funny. I don't take that back. All this Jason Universe stuff is insane. Please stop making announcements about the Jason Universe
until you have something
to announce.
You can show me other than like, yes, here's a picture of Jason.
Yes, and a crappy 14-second video with your machete steel logo and your 13-hole Jason mask. I just don't.
So if this, I'm
excited for all of this. I sound very negative, but I'm tired of carnies and swindlers and con men. And so I will call all of it out.
Right.
And this is that's hilarious.
This is absolutely what it is.
Yes.
And I do think, I will say what's nice about the fandom here, and I'm going to give us, is most of the people I've seen online have gone like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, can you give us something? Yeah.
Give us, is it a movie? Okay. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think generally that's kind of what's funny is they seem to be willing to give us everything except what everybody's been begging for the last 16 years, which is a fucking movie.
Well, I think even, like, I'm thinking back, and I wanted to say even on our, like, when we first talked about the Jason universe, we were joking, but we're like, okay, maybe he'll start showing up in more stuff. Like, maybe he'll show up in, like, Mortal Kombat, like, all these other games and stuff. Sure. Like, maybe they'll start licensing him. Like, no, it's like you said, he was in multiverses. And then he's like, what else has happened?
And they're making cups with the new Jason on them, I'm sure, or something. Like, which I don't want.
And there was, like, rumor of, like, maybe that the gun media game, like, resurfacing.
They said something about the game on that in that press release, so I'm curious to see, like...
So maybe they'll get... But, like...
I wonder if that game's being revived in some form. If the rights issues are what was keeping it held down.
Right.
See, the interesting thing is the game developer, that did Friday the 13th, they moved on and they started doing
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, yeah.
And
which I have not played.
But they're done with it now.
Okay.
Like they dropped that game, so I'm wondering if maybe they're going back to do more
of that.
Weren't they doing a Killer Clowns from Outer Space thing too?
Was that them? Does that come out?
Was that somebody else?
I've fallen out of those multiplayer type games. It's not that I don't. They're not for me. I'm glad they exist. Like,
they've never been for me.
Like fun. Yeah,
I've played them. But
the last Friday the 13th thing I wanted to mention before we move on, and it's going to be quick. I promise.
Sure.
But on Reddit, there's a gentleman on the Pluto TV I think gentleman. Maybe it's a lady. I don't want to be too sexist here.
A user
on the Pluto TV subreddit that is keeping track of the amount of commercials that are on demand, I believe.
Excellent.
Videos. And he has watched. I'm looking at this now, and he's posted 4 days in a row. I keep saying he. I'm just going to go with it. This has to be a male. I'm giving women more credit than what this gentleman is doing. But he has watched.
It's a dude.
Friday the 13th, Part 8, 4 days in a row, and has tracked the minutes of commercials shown
for
each time he has watched it.
Excellent.
So he says, a good drop in commercials today was his first post 4 days ago. And he says, I ran Friday the 13th, Part 8 again today after 21 minutes of commercials yesterday. Today it was only 13 minutes. That's a drop of 8 minutes. And that's great. Cheers. So then he came back the next day. He says, a big rise in commercials today. After 13 minutes of commercials yesterday, today it was 24 minutes, 1 minute short of the maximum. That's the largest one-day rise I've seen so far, 11 minutes. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Cheers from Northeast Ohio. So, and he keeps doing this every day. And I was looking at the last one, and people are like, we got to report this guy for spam. I'm like, no, let this guy live.
Yeah, hey, this is what he was born to do.
This is amazing. Like, why are people upset about this?
Let him live his life.
And this is providing me with entertainment because, like, this is
great. Hey, it's like cool psycho stuff. You know?
Yes. Keep this person inside, tracking Pluto.
Don't shut him down. You want to shut this guy down?
Don't let him out.
Do you know what happens? Nothing good. My God.
All right, we got to talk about the Collector.
We got another killer to talk about. Enough of this Jason. What's funny is there's more momentum on this franchise, actual believable momentum in this franchise, than
the Jason universe.
Kind of.
Yeah, we're talking about the Collector universe.
We are talking about the Collector. Yes. So this, of course, is what they call a duology.
At this point, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The third movie is apparently happening for real this time. We swear.
Well, yeah, but they haven't started shooting yet. That's the thing. Is like you're right though. Even nowadays, like
for real,
until I see like
I swear.
Yeah. Until I see the movie, I don't know if it's going to.
Yeah. When I'm seated, wherever I'm seated, and I've pressed play or somebody's pressed play.
Yeah.
I'll believe.
Because they were shooting Batgirl. They were like, I've seen stills from that Looney Tunes movie they wrote off for tax purposes.
They shot like a week of the Collector 3.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like the money guys disappeared or something.
Yes.
Was it Sean? Anyway.
Yeah, I believe it was Robbie. Robbie was
it was Robbie. Robbie the Rat. They call him Robbie the Rat. Anyway. I don't know that man. I'm sure he's nice. Yes, the Collector being the first in the franchise, and then the Collection being the follow-up
Let's skip Time Machine because we're 30 minutes in.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. 2009 and 2012 are when these movies were released.
There's a Time Machine sound. Yeah. It was like a squish and a grinding metal. That feels like a nice.
Yeah.
So it actually sounded like a Donald Duck. Yeah. Anyway,
I do a good Donald Duck now. That's one thing.
Do you do a good Donald Duck?
Yeah.
Can I hear it? Dude, I could never do Donald. I could do Mickey Mouse. Though. I could do it really well.
Yeah, Mickey's a good one. I
could do that, but I could never do Donald.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah. Hello, Josie. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's fun. Anyway,
we're about to get sued by Disney.
Seriously,
I can't post this to YouTube because Mickey's coming like, "Hey, buddy, I heard that impression."
I do a mean collector too.
It's got a GIMP mask, right? This is a GIMP mask. Yeah,
I like him. Anyway, so I don't know how.
Not Mickey, to clarify. The collector has.
The collector has a GIMP mask, not Mickey. Mickey does not have a GIMP mask. I didn't know how you wanted to break this thing down, but I'd like to just give my. If you're cool with it, start with giving my thoughts on the two movies, and then if you want to share your kind of your brief thoughts about the two movies.
Let's do this. Let's do what we usually do. Let's talk about because this is not the first time either of us have seen these. Let's talk about our first time with these movies.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start there. Yeah, that's cool. The Collector I saw on DVD. It came out during kind of the height of the torture porn Saw Hostel stuff.
Right.
And I skipped it in theaters because I was kind of burnt out on that stuff.
This is kind of at the tail end. Like, the Saw movies were starting to get long in the tooth.
Yes. They were starting to get, like, borderline. These should be direct-to-DVD, not even theatrical.
This is the Hoffman stuff, right?
Correct.
The Hoffman era, yeah.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, 4, 5, and, like, 6, those things should never have been in the theater. Like, they made enough money to warrant it, I guess, but, like, that's...
They feel like,
they were made for direct.
Like when you watch them on Sci-Fi, you're like, "Oh, this is where it should be." These movies were,
So I kind of skipped it, but this was a time when we've talked about it before. We both worked at the video store, and like we could rent these movies for free before they came out. And so generally, like I'd gobble up whatever horror, as long as it wasn't like absolute clearly some trash that I just didn't. I would generally watch whatever the horror was that I could get my hands on, and this was one of them. And I remember watching it and really liking I did feel like it fits alongside that torture porny stuff for sure to a certain extent. There's no question that it is very much a product of the time and the popularity of that subgenre during that time. But what I will say is, unlike a Hostel or even a Saw, there was more of a very the Collector character. Even though he's less of a character than certainly John Kramer in the Saw movies, he felt more like this is a slasher villain, which I liked.
Yeah.
John Kramer never felt like a slasher villain to me. Every once in a while he'd throw on the pig mask or whatever, and they kind of dabbled with that a little bit, but he never felt like a slasher villain. And there's not really a villain in Hostel per se. It's all kind of just like an operation.
I actually don't like John Kramer being a slasher. I kind of like I'm starting to think like Saw 10 is my favorite, just because it is kind of like a character study of John Kramer.
I like the vengeful, human. And that's why some of the Hoffman stuff gets so goofy. I like some of those movies too, but it feels more like a slasher at that point in time. But I liked the Collector because I was like, there's a whole vibe here. He's got something going on with insects. He's got a fascination with insects. He's got the cool, weird eyes that like kind of reflect whatever he's looking at. I like the GIMP mask. I like the idea that he sets up these traps. I'm like, this is like a fleshed out concept of a villain for a series, right?
Yeah.
And I dig that. I always like when there's like layers in terms of not necessarily like to characterization, but layers to kind of the modus operandi of the killer, right?
It doesn't explain it in the first movie. It doesn't,
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
We're kind of getting an intro, because the other thing I really appreciate about this movie is the hook that separated, I think, from a lot of the torture porny stuff that was coming out at the time. Because there's a lot of direct-to-video torture porn crap too. People forget about that, like stuff that people will never talk about again. That was like trying to be like be as agonizing and excruciatingly mean and just nasty. There was a lot of it at the time.
Man, yeah, you're right.
A lot of direct-to-video schlock, yeah. And what I liked about this one that separated it from those was that the hook. The idea of, I always liked this idea, this concept of a criminal, like somebody who is not a good person necessarily, not doing a good deed, who like they broke into the wrong house. I love that. I love that. I actually like that about Don't Breathe. I didn't love Don't Breathe, but I loved that idea about Don't Breathe of like we've got these kids breaking into this house and it turns out their would-be victim is worse than them. You know what I'm saying? Like
you and I are very similar, and I'm sorry when it comes to protagonists in that I think you and I don't, and sorry if I'm speaking for you, but I think we've talked about this before. Ahead. You and I don't really, like, our character does not have to be our protagonist doesn't have to be a good person. They have to be an interesting person.
Agreed, yes. Yeah. I always prefer it if there's a layer of,
I like when goodness shines through even a little bit. And you see that, I think you see that in, like, the Don't Breathe movie. You see it here. You see it in The Collector. But
I think this lead character makes this movie for me.
Yes, I do too. Yeah. I would agree. So, and I think that gets, I don't know, like, sometimes there was a bit on one of the I saw a clip from a podcast. I think it was like Bowen Yang, as a guy from SNL and his podcasting partner.
He's funny,
and they were talking about and they have a podcast. The podcast is actually like better than anything that he's done on SNL. Like I think it's every time I see a clip from him, I'm like, oh, this like he's like funny. He always plays the same character on SNL, and I don't know if that's him or just an issue with the show. But anyway, sorry, that was a tangent. But they were talking about Disney villains, and they were talking about how like nowadays like a Disney villain like half the time it's just like, oh, they didn't get a hug from their parents as a kid, and then like back in the day, like Scar was killing his brother.
It was insane.
So like I feel like I almost feel like
Jafar was trying to knock up Jasmine so he could be the king.
So,
nuts.
Yes. So like I feel like to tie it back to this, like you know what, I don't need everybody to be a perfect person. I feel like sometimes like we're veering closer and closer towards that, and I don't know if that's just a cultural thing at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with my protagonist. I wouldn't even call him a hero, like being like kind of shitty. Yeah.
No, I agree. I completely agree. That's one of the things that I liked about I appreciated about the early run of the Marvel movies. The Kevin Feige ones or whatever, MCU, whatever it is, was that even all those characters had a little bit of a conflict and troubles. Even like Captain America, as those movies go on, like that's an easy character to misinterpret and to make kind of
right.
You know, I even think like Whedon gets him really, very wrong in that first Avengers movie. I feel like he's too.
Yeah.
You know. But as that series wears on, like they make sure that it's just
there are characters Whedon understands better in that movie, I think. Yeah.
But I think that it can be done very well and it can be done very poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this character, he's doing bad things, but he's doing them for a good cause, and he's got a good heart at the end of the day. I mean, he actively tries to rescue everybody in this movie. Anybody who's in trouble, he's actively like putting himself in danger to try and save, except for the cat. He chucks the cat.
We'll talk a little bit about it.
It's very funny. I love cats, and it's still fucking hilarious. But I like this character. I like Josh Stewart. He's been in a ton of stuff, and I always like when he pops up.
Yeah, he's in Nolan movies. He shows up in Nolan movies.
I think all of them. Yeah. I met him at a con once. And
did you?
Yeah, he was super cool. We talked about Collector 3, and he was like, "It's happening," and that was like,
well, he wasn't lying.
He wasn't lying. No, but it was a bummer. I'm like, sad looking back at that now. Nice dude though, really cool dude. But he kind of, I do like the Collector like as a killer and a villain, but Josh Stewart's character kind of carries it for me.
Yeah.
In terms of like he hooks me in. I mean, I want him to live. Like I want him to get through this and save this kid and all this stuff. And make it to his wife in time so she doesn't get like off by the mob.
Yes.
There's a ticking clock here too, which is interesting. Outside of the force of the Collector. And then Collection I saw in the theater.
Oh, did you?
I did. I liked the Collector.
This was a bigger theatrical release. Yeah.
I liked the Collector.
Bigger than the Collector, I should say. Yeah.
Yes, bigger than that for sure. I like the Collector quite a bit. I watched it a couple times even after that free rental because I was like, this movie's pretty sweet. And I got free passes through a friend to go see Collection at like a pre-screening. I was like, let's go. Like, hell yeah. And I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna say this, and I know I am not I do not align with the popular opinion here on the views of these two movies.
Uh-huh.
The collection frickin' rules. I love the collection. I think it's awesome.
You and I are in the same boat. I like one better. Yeah, I like two better than one. Yeah.
I think it distances itself from that torture porn tropey stuff. There's still elements of that, like the traps and stuff, but it's not torture porn in this movie.
Yeah.
And it blows up the universe and the world of the Collector in such a cool way that sequels are supposed to do. It enhances it expands on the world, it expands on the Arkin character, it expands on the Collector's character. It makes it bigger, it makes it a little bit louder, it makes it a little bit more violent. It ups the body count a bit. It feels like Aliens, like an Alien to me. Or like Terminator 2, like where like you're doing they're upping the ante in the right way because they're making the world bigger. And they're making it feel bigger, but still keeping the kind of the essence of what it sprung from. So I love the collection. I think it's sweet as hell.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you first see these ones?
Okay, so all right, it hit me while I was watching it this time. So back around the time this would have hit DVD, there was a website, and I'm outing myself as a pirate a little bit here. But there was a website called Justin.tv. And if Joe is listening to it, he will remember this. He remembers this website fondly. Because what we would do when we lived together is we would throw it on. Justin.tv was like a streaming website. Like it was a pirate streaming website.
It wasn't like Music Plus. Remember Music Plus?
No, I don't.
You don't remember like hanging out in your apartment with me and your brother, watching like it was like Music Plus or something like that?
Was it Cool TV?
Yeah,
Cool TV.
Yeah.
No, Cool TV was like a cable channel.
Yeah, we watched that together.
Yeah,
yeah, it was sweet. Sorry.
No, so this was you had to be online.
Why did you say Music Plus? Where'd that come from?
Cool TV. So Cool TV, for those that don't know, was a cable channel on whatever cable system we would have had around here. It wouldn't have been
probably WoW.
I don't think we had WoW. I think it would have been Comcast. And it was just like a station. They played like deep cut shit. Like it was like they played like techno at like
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was so sick.
I remember us sitting in the living room like vibing.
Yeah.
And you guys just moved in there, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain you just moved in there because like there were still like moving boxes and stuff. And there was like one couch and like a lazy boy.
Yeah.
And I remember like you guys were sitting on the couch and I was on the lazy boy and we were just like yeah.
My brother and I
we were having a good time.
Our apartments were always a vibe. So anyway, Justin.tv was a website, and what I used it for primarily, and what Joe and I used it for was what they would play back in the day, around the time this movie came out, was WCW wrestling and WWF wrestling from the Attitude Era, and they would play Nitros, the shows, the flagship shows, Nitro and Raw. They would show them back to back, like by date. So like if it happened on October 12th. They would show both episodes, and we would just leave my desktop in our apartment on all day, and like we'd go to work and it'd come back, and like we'd sit down and we could like crack a beer, like hell yeah, we're in November now. We just sit there and we'd play video games. We would win like national championships and NCAA basketball with Quinnipiac.
That's amazing. It sounds like a good time.
It was a great time, but they also had a channel that showed horror movies 24/7.
Okay.
And I'm sure these channels are still out there. There's not the same way with the way it is now. But I stumbled across this because I'm like, I'm sick of watching late 90s wrestling. It's time to watch. I'm going to see what's on this horror channel. And I would flip over, and I flipped on, and this was like 20 minutes in. And I sat down and watched The Collector. I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, this is kind of sick. And like, the chat was going nuts about it because you always have the chat on the right side.
Oh,
of the screen.
Okay, yep.
And if you can ignore the racist and homophobic and misogynistic comments that I'm sure still have.
Sadly, that has not changed.
That has not changed. Probably gotten worse. Like, you will find people that are just there to watch the movie.
Sure.
And that's kind of a fun thing to do.
That's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, the chat was going off about it. I'm like, man, people really love this movie. Like, and then I kind of did a little more research, and I'm like, oh, this is like not a new movie. This came out recently, and people are like raving about it. So yeah, that was my first exposure to this. But
did you like it? Like, weird way to watch it, I guess, a little bit.
Weird way to watch, but I watched the whole thing.
Sure.
Like I sat there, I'm like, oh, this.
You liked it enough to,
But I did watch it and go, like, this is like a Saw. Like, what is this? Like, this is like a Saw ripoff.
It was meant to be a Saw spinoff.
Yeah, I want to talk about that with you a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, I watched it. I'm like, oh, this is it's like a Saw thing, but like I had fun. Like I watched the whole thing, and then when the collection came out, I didn't watch it. I actually didn't. I don't even know if I knew about it until later on. I think you were talking about it, and it tipped me off. I'm like, God, I should rewatch that first one.
Sure.
And I want to say it was when we started the podcast. In fact, I think it was because I went back into my Letterboxd app and I
cool.
logged it.
That's fun.
And I saw that I had watched them both before, I think in like 2017.
Okay.
And I went, oh yeah, that's when. So it's been a few years since I watched the collection for the first time, but I went back and watched them both because, I had never seen the collection before that time. So I'm with you anyway, long-winded. Yeah. I like the collection better. I texted you outside of this. I'm like, man, this should have been like Saw era, like that cycle of like torture porn, for lack of a better term, like movies. Like this should have been that generation's Terrifier, that low budget, like that we keep getting sequels to.
Right?
They keep kind of like upping the ante in some ways, like upping the violence and just keep like expanding the universe and really like fun.
It feels similar to in that sense. Yeah.
Yes. So, I will say this. I watched, watching it this time, and I'm going to get your thoughts on watching it this time. I don't love The Collector. I like the collection a lot. The Collector, I don't know. Some of the stuff doesn't age well for me. The Saw, the editing, the Saw style editing, the Saw style colors, they're a bit too much for me.
It's a very drab looking movie.
Yeah,
it's very of its time. The soundtrack is very Saw-esque. I do think the score is actually okay though. Like
the score's okay. Yeah.
But the sound, like the sound editing of the movie, it's very crunchy and very industrial sounding.
The colors are all blown out in green and blue.
Greens and blues.
And it makes sense because we'll talk about it in a second. Like the director and the writer, they come from the later Saw movies, and this is very
but
similar.
I get what you're saying. I enjoy the first Collector enough as it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fine, kind of movie, like slashery, nasty, fun movie. It's not one that I go back to a lot.
Right.
Like I said, I like the lead character and I like the villain. The movie itself is fine.
Yeah.
It works well enough. But that second one.
Yeah, I like the second one, but also like I think I was thinking about this, like, oh, so I get these confused with another series that came out in the 2000s, and they make a mention to it in the collection. I might be a bit of a Chrome Skull guy. We might have to go revisit the Laid to Rest movies.
Yeah, Laid to Rest. Yeah.
So I might be more of a Chrome Skull guy because I get these two confused in my head.
Laid to Rest. That was direct to video, I think. Laid to
Rest. These were both lower budget horror movies that kind of came out of that boom.
I remember Laid to Rest being nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nasty.
I haven't seen it in a while. I want to revisit those. Maybe I'll put those on the.
They got to
list.
Be on Tubi.
Oh, those are Tubi movies. So anyway, but the collection, like you said, like the collection was, I think, more what I was looking for. And then we have to talk about. I want to get your thoughts on the rewatch, but I had forgotten about the opening scene of the collection.
Oh, I remembered.
Well, not the opening
theater.
Not the opening scene, I should say, because the Christopher McDonald, the club scene of the Collector collection.
Amazing.
I just went, oh my God, I'd forgotten about it. I can't believe I forgot about it.
It's so sweet.
But it's one of those things I was happy that slipped my mind. Because
it's a really cool sequence, isn't it?
It's really good.
The Thresher thing, and then like
even the setup to it, the kind of Rube Goldberg-esque plot, and the practical effects are great.
Yeah.
It is kind of like it's Saw mixed with Final Destination.
It is.
Yeah, and, and I mean that in a good way. And yeah, that whole thing. The only problem with the movie is that it never quite lives up to that. After that, the traps. But
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree.
So yes,
not in terms. I don't disagree in terms of like the
traps.
bloodbath and the madness. The high for me in this movie is later.
Cool. Okay. So I like the collection a lot. So yeah, that's where I stand on it. Willie, what did you think this time around?
Yeah, no, I mean it's a brighter movie than that first movie. I'm glad you mentioned like the color palette. It's a much more enjoyable movie to watch visually than that first movie. I like it, man. I'm a sucker for it. First of all, Christopher McDonald, what a delight. Arguably wasted in this movie, but I don't know, he's kind of fun.
He kind of like floats in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They only had him for a few days, I'm sure. I sat in a bar with Christopher McDonald. Speaking of,
where at? Oh, was this the not Paige Charco?
Yeah.
The other April O'Neil.
Yep.
It's escaping me right now.
He was
Judith Hogue.
He had an aura about him.
I would imagine.
Well, it's exactly what you'd expect. It was just perfect.
He is probably living like high on the hog.
He had an entourage.
I would have. Well, so the thing with him too is like he's just like full on like I'm Shooter McGavin now. Like that's what awesome. People remember me as. Great. That's what I'm going to be.
That's fantastic. He should. Screw it. Yeah, he seemed like a delight. But yeah, the vibe is just different right out of the gate with this movie. Obviously the club scene we talked about, it's amazing. And I do agree, like nothing lives up to it in terms of like from a pure like gorehound creative, like that creative aspect of like the violence and stuff like that. It does not. But God, like they just go so hard with this movie. Like it's like there's like he's got like weird zombie drugged up junkie people in the basement. Like there's sections of this that feel like there's sections of this movie that feel like that first Paul widescreen Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Where it's like mercenaries shooting zombies running at them. Like it's insane. I never expected that from like a sequel to The Collector. Which is like a home invasion movie mixed with Saw, essentially. This movie has like zombie people running around. It has some weird girl dressed as a doll trying to like guide them through a maze. It's got like
I went with it. I'm like,
the whole thing. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, okay. It just rules. It's a haunted house movie in a lot of ways. Just
the haunted hotel, the Argento Hotel, right?
That's
right.
Or
is it Argento Hotel or Hotel Argento? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think it's Hotel Argento. I think you're right.
That makes sense.
It's classier sounding that way.
What's funny is like the director, is it Patrick Melton?
Yeah, Marcus Dunstan.
Marcus Dunstan, yeah. Melton's the screenwriter, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep. Marcus Dunstan's the director. He talked in interviews about how like he was inspired by old Carpenter and old Argento. I'm like, this does not remind me of Argento at all. Like,
no, I don't see any of that. No, I'm glad he was inspired.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm glad.
Some of the colors in Collection, I would say, maybe are Argento. There's some very some very vivid use of colors.
Maybe some of the gore. No.
Maybe the black gloved killer.
Oh, maybe some of the insects.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know what? Okay.
The bug fascination is very okay.
All right, Patrick or Marcus, either one.
I like that. Whoever you are. I like I love the actual like when you get to see the collection.
Yeah.
And you see that it's not just like these zombie meth head people that he has in the basement or the doll girl or any of that. Like you see his finished like masterpieces of like. They're like essentially like what insects made of human bones that he has in these glass cases. Like,
right.
It's super gnarly and cool. Yeah. And I just the part that hits the high for me is the finale. Like the finale of them getting out of the warehouse.
Okay.
It's there because I legitimately like that arcing character so much, and it's so rare to have a character come back for a second installment in these kinds of movies. And not just come back, but be our protagonist again. Now, he has a co-protagonist in this one with the mob boss's daughter. With
she becomes
but he's still kind of like the lead. I feel like by and large. But when he finally gets his moment, like when that music is welling up, and there's like fire burning around them, and like he finally gets his moment, and he like lights up the collector. It's the coolest shit.
Yeah.
There's a bit in their fight. Like I remember in the theater being like, this is the raddest thing I've ever seen. Like in the moment, I was just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I was so into it. There's a moment.
That's a great feeling, by the way, in the theater when you're
like, let's go.
you're like this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, and you know it.
Sometimes.
Like afterwards, you're
you
like,
know,
it wasn't the coolest thing I've ever seen.
But in that moment, it was. And
it's okay to feel that.
Sure, let it come. It's good. That's what movies should do. And I still get that. Like, I still get that fun. Never to that level, but like, even watching it now, I was like, hell yeah, get him.
Yeah,
get him, Arkin. Because there's that bit where he's like on top, he's like pummeling the Collector, and you're finally seeing this guy get his comeuppance after like 2 movies of him just like horribly murdering people, and then he like takes a knife and like stabs it through Arkin's mouth, like both ends, and the dude pulls the knife out and starts beating him more, and I'm like, yeah, let's go! Like, it's so sick, and he throws him down a trash chute. Lights him on fire. It's
the fire lighting is pretty cool, like to watch.
It's
and, like,
so cool.
Yeah, it's all about
that whole sequence, and then her breaking the displays with the water to like put the fire. I like that whole sequence. I think it's really cool, and I like the epilogue sequence too. I like the Collector showing up at his own home, and you're kind of like, who am I watching right now? And then you realize, and then Arkin's like there, like waiting for him, and throws him in the box. I like all that. I don't know. The whole thing, that last 20 minutes is like the coolest shit.
All right. Yeah. I think
I like it a lot.
I see where you're coming from.
And it sets up an interesting possibility for us. Like, what would the sequel to that be? You don't need one, because essentially, like, your hero's kind of...
All right. Yeah. So let's talk about that.
All right.
All right, so the sequel is what I wanted to get into with you.
The Collected, I believe.
The Collected. So, what is the sequel supposed to be about? I know they had started shooting it a while back. I think 3 or 4 years ago, right?
They started shooting it during COVID.
Okay.
And or before COVID broke out, I think.
Okay.
And I think the reason at the time they mentioned was that COVID shut down production, and we just couldn't keep it going. But apparently, there's more to it than that, and like. The money people were really shifty and like took off with some of the money, and it effectively disrupted and destroyed the production. All that anybody really knows about it is that Josh Stewart was back. Arkin was back again. There were scenes shot in a jail.
Okay.
Where the Collector like tore through a bunch of cops in a jail. What that means, I don't know. Obviously, he's captured at the end of the second film, so I don't know if like he must escape somehow, or the rumor was that the cops raid the house as he's boxing up the Collector, and a neighbor has called and said, there's a guy out, that broke in the house, blah blah blah, and somehow like the Collector has stuff on hand that makes it look like Arkin is the Collector and he's innocent or something. Like he was ready for this possibility. Kind of thing. So I don't know. Not as bad as like, I switch bodies with a paramedic. Kind of a retcon, but
right.
Still whatever. You got to keep the sequels going. So that's all I'm aware of.
Okay.
There were a handful of set photos that came out from it and stuff where the Collector's like tearing up the police.
Was this the one that was going to have a comic? No, I feel like that was a different one. Never mind.
Not sure on that, but yeah, I mean, it was the same creative team as the first two.
And he said recently that it's
happening. Yeah. Apparently, they have they've retooled things. They've got the funding for it now through actual like, hopefully decent human beings, and they're good to go. So it's presumably happening. I think again, Arkin is back. That's the plan. I don't know if they're going with the same. I don't know if they're going to like use some of the stuff they shot for I assume probably not. I would imagine they'll start from scratch.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
I feel like you don't want to mess with that too if there are shifty people involved with the money, because they can be like, oh,
we own that footage. Yeah. I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't even touch it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The other thing I want to talk to you about too, I mentioned too, is all right. So I want to give a little bit of background on Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton. Because Marcus Dunstan is the director, Patrick Melton is the co-writer. They co-wrote this together. So I remember them. There's a show on HBO before it was HBO Go, and then HBO Max, and then back to HBO Max again. But there was a show called Project Greenlight, and it was a Matt Damon and Ben Affleck produced show.
That's right.
And they were on it every once in a while. from what I'm pulling this from memory. I didn't research this part of it, but I liked the show. And the first season, they found I believe Shia LaBeouf.
Stolen Summer.
Yeah. And it was like a young coming of age indie comedy that they search. It was them searching for a director, a writer, like an idea to produce into a movie. And then I believe it was season 3, because I don't remember season 2. Season 2, I believe, was a movie that was similar to that one.
The two I remember are Stolen Summer and Feast.
So season 3 was Feast. It was the Feast one. It was built around Marcus Stunson and Patrick Melton, them finding the script and everything for Feast and developing that. And I want to go back and rewatch it because I do think it is a good like development of idea for, because they gotten to the point where they're like, you know what, we need to make some money off this, and one of the ways we can do this is like horror movies make money.
Yeah,
like horror movies you can produce on the cheap. You can, and one of the ways you can make money, you can franchise horror movies easier than you get. Like, you're not making a sequel to the Shia LaBeouf movie. Like, you can franchise. Like, Feast had 2 sequels. You
can franchise them, and then hopefully you can merchandise stuff.
Yes.
I mean, the Jason universe is proving that we can merchandise.
Can you imagine a Project Greenlight with horror?
I want the Feast universe.
You're more likely to get that than you are some of the stuff. But I remember this. I remember Feast, and Feast is fun. Feast, like, they're fun.
Yeah. I don't. I've seen the first one.
There are Feast 1, 2, and 3. It was Sloppy Seconds and Happy Finish. If that doesn't tell you what you need to know about the Feast movies,
I've seen the first one. I know that. It was fun.
But it is Project Greenlight. I kind of wish maybe they did bring it back, but I wish they would bring it back because I think it's an interesting look in how movies are made and the business behind them. And
are Damon and Affleck still friends? Do we know?
Yeah, I think they're doing a movie together now.
All right, good.
I don't know if they're close,
but they're.
It's similar to the way like Affleck is with Kevin Smith now too, because he's popped up in a couple of Smith things.
I think Affleck just wants to be left alone.
I do too. Affleck's got his own.
I think he wants to make movies and then like go away.
Yeah. Affleck's got his own issues. I don't know. Like,
don't we all?
Yeah, I've always found him to be a very likable screen presence. Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I enjoy Ben Affleck, and especially in Kevin Smith movies.
I'd hang out with Affleck.
I'm sure he's
I'd have a drink with Affleck. He's probably a delight.
Yeah, maybe you don't want to though. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he shouldn't.
Yeah. I would
watch a game.
Like that.
Yep.
What is it? He's a big fan of.
He's a Boston fan though.
Red Sox.
He's a Patriots fan.
Yeah, I don't have anything against.
I
have nothing against the Patriots at this point in time.
I'm a anti-Boston absolutist. I don't like any Boston teams. I think that's the one city where I'm pretty consistently anti.
No Red Sox.
I don't like the Red Sox. I don't like the Celtics. It starts with the Celtics. I hate the Celtics.
Interesting.
That comes from being a kid with the Pistons and the Lakers. I was a Lakers fan as a kid. I was a Magic Johnson fan as a kid. I don't like the Celtics. Yeah, I'm not a Patriots guy.
Not a Larry Bird
and
fan.
A Bruins guy. I'm not a Bruins guy either.
Didn't like Larry Bird.
Well, so okay. So the thing is, I don't like the Celtics, but I respect Larry Bird.
Okay, that's fair.
And a lot of it has
the Wayne Gretzky thing. Like
yeah.
I didn't like Gretzky when he played for any of the teams he played for. He played for what, 2?
He was the Kings and the Oilers.
Oilers, that's right. Yep. I didn't like either one of them.
I feel like there's a third team that's like when Michael Jordan played for the Wizards, but
didn't he play for the Maple Leafs or something?
Are you getting him? You might be. All right, let's see.
No,
he played for the Coyotes.
The Coyotes.
Joe is screaming right now, but I got there, Joe. Don't worry.
Yeah. Wow, the Coyotes.
So anyway, how did we get there? We were talking about Ben Affleck, right?
I don't know.
And then so anyway, they went on to be, I think, one of the main creative forces behind Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6, Saw 3D.
The Hoffman saga.
Yes, those later Saw movies, which were before and around The Collector and the Collection.
Yes.
But
the saga.
The reason I wanted to give some context here is because we're talking about this being very. I thought it was a Saw ripoff, and I guess it is, but I don't know if necessarily that's not necessarily fair.
It's
because
different.
this started as a Saw prequel, and what I think is amazing about this is the prequel idea, as I've gathered from interviews.
Please tell, because I've heard this many times before, but I've never dug into it enough to understand how this was going to be a prequel.
This was going to be, from what I gather, it was going to be centered around John Kramer as a kid, and he was going to be witnessing the events of. So he wasn't going to be the collector, and he wasn't going to be the protagonist.
The kid that was saved.
He was the kid that was saved.
The little girl, essentially, in this one.
And he saw what the collector did, but the collector, my guess is, so I don't have the script or anything.
Sure.
My guess is young baby John Kramer saw this.
Was inspired.
Uncle baby John Kramer, yes, saw this, and the collector is like, you know what? He's got the right idea here with these traps, but he's getting it all wrong.
Purpose.
He's punishing the wrong person.
Ah.
Or maybe not, though, because he is doing something wrong. You know what I mean? He is doing something wrong. It's like he does have the right idea. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean,
because I guess the collector's more of a straight up murderer.
He's not like
John Kramer. Kind of gives you an out sometimes.
There's an opportunity there.
The collector doesn't really give you an opportunity. He's like launching you into a bunch of spikes.
It's so sweet.
He's setting up. They're not even traps. Like the bear trap thing is not even traps. It's just like, here's a bunch of bear traps.
I hope somebody falls in this. Do you think he was like, I really hope somebody falls in this? Like he's setting them up one by one.
I guess that's what I'm saying is like John Kramer is giving you the chance.
Well, he's got a purpose behind what he's trying to do,
yes.
Right? And he's always giving somebody a chance. And that's the whole point of when Hoffman decides I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just going to set him in traps that can't be solved. That's the whole thing is he's not doing it right.
Right.
Yeah. And then Cary Elwes shows up and
So I guess as far as the prequel, I guess that is what it is.
Okay.
It's almost like how every generation improves on the past generation in some ways, or progresses past
sure.
that. So John Kramer has progressed a little bit, and maybe not where you want him to be.
Yeah, I'm happy this is not a prequel to Saw.
There's part of me. So okay, here's where I'm supposed I guess I'm supposed to say original horror only. I'm supposed to be
yeah.
But I'm not that way. There's part of me it'd be kind of sick if this was if the kid was John Kramer.
It'd be fine.
I can't help it.
I wouldn't be mad at it.
You're right. In the long run,
I'm
you're
glad
right,
that it's its own thing, honestly, because that means we have more horror creations and characters that stand on their own and do their own. So that's good.
I do want to. There are a couple movies that Marcus Dunson directed recently that I've heard of them, but I have not watched them. Okay. All My Friends Are Dead, which I believe might be on Netflix.
Okay. And
then Unhuman is another one.
All right.
So I do want to check those out. We did talk a little bit about Josh Stewart. Juan Fernandez was the first collector.
There are two, yes.
What's that?
There are two collectors, yeah.
Different guy in the second one.
Different ones, yeah. I heard the first actor wasn't available or something like that.
Juan Fernandez is a guy. Is a very holy shit. It's that guy type of guy. He was in Crocodile Dundee 2.
Awesome.
And he was also in a movie called Salvador with James Woods, and I believe it was an Oliver Stone movie.
It is?
Yeah.
Yep. I think his second movie he ever directed. Salvador, pretty sure.
Yeah. So it's a good movie. If you ever seen The Cable Guy, it's where when he puts his nipple on the screen and he goes, "Oh, Billy," it's originally from Salvador.
Oh my god. I haven't seen it in a long time. Salvador.
Yeah.
Oliver Stone's got a hell of a filmography. I know we're tangenting again.
No,
yeah. He does.
The question. Okay, so what I wanted to put you on the spot here, real quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rapid fire a couple of because we did this for the Terrifier movies. I'm gonna name off a couple of different aspects.
Okay.
Of the films.
Sure.
I'm gonna ask you which ones you like better.
Okay.
The traps and the kills. Which one do you like better?
That's tough, right? Because that nightclub scene kind of trumps anything in any of the rest of all the stuff. I would actually say that if we're disregarding the nightclub, I would go the first movie with the traps.
I actually think I'm with you. Yeah.
I think they're more fun and more clever and a little bit more inventive in that small contained.
They're more memorable too. Yeah.
Yes, there's less traps in the second one. It's more. He wasn't like prepping traps because he didn't know people were going to show up at his house.
Yeah.
So it's not the same thing, right? But man, that opening trap in 2. If it weren't, the nightclub takes everything. But that, I think the traps overall, if we count the nightclub trap as 1, I think the first movie has more, a higher number of good traps. We'll go with that.
Characters.
Character-wise, yeah, I'm gonna go with the second movie. The only I like that Arkin and his wife have more to do, like more interaction in the first movie. I think it makes you kind of care about what he's got going on more, justifies a little bit of his criminal behavior a little bit more, and I do like the relationship between him and the little girl in the first movie. But I just think we have more characters that are like everybody else from that family minus the little girl are not likable. Like none of them are likable.
Yeah.
Like when they die, you're like, okay. Like, the wife is kind of not an enjoyable person to watch. Like, I feel bad for her. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, okay, she died. Or, like, the daughter who's kind of like a jerk. You're like, all right, she died. The second movie...
She's there for a very specific reason.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. The second movie, they're all, like, for the most part, like, mercenaries and stuff. But they're kind of... I do like the mob boss's daughter quite a bit. I think that she's a very she's likable and she feels vulnerable enough to where you're like I'm hoping she gets through this. We have Arkin back again. Now we kind of got a little bit of a bond with him from that first movie. I actually like the relationship between the mob boss's daughter and her bodyguard guy, who's kind of like leading the charge.
Yeah.
Into this, like they there's a cool connection there. I think it's not romantic, but it's like almost it's almost like he's closer to a dad than what her actual dad is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to go with the second one, and I think the Collector, we get a little bit more out of him too, not through anything he does, although he speaks technically in the second movie.
He does
at the very end. But I think we get a bit more of like what his sick vision or goal is. Does that make sense?
No, the second one actually improves the first one in that sense for me because we do start to understand the Collector.
This is what he's trying to do, yeah.
I like I'm torn on the first one, not explaining his motives.
Sure.
Because I feel like there's a delicate balance to that. And I always go back to the Halloween, the first Halloween with that, because like part of what makes the first Halloween scary is that you don't really know why he's killing these people, and part of it is
totally
the setting.
Yep.
I don't know what it is about the first Collector that doesn't work for me, not explaining all of his I like the idea of it, but there's part of me like, man, I wish I knew why he was doing it. Maybe it's just because it's taking place in this specific home. Like, I don't know why he's doing it.
Well, what's interesting about the first one, with the context of watching the second one, what's cool about the first one is we're seeing just one incident of what his usual routine is.
Right.
And then when you see that second movie, you're like, all these people locked up in the basement that have been turned into like raving zombie people, like each one of those was a home invasion that he did. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's interesting seeing the more macro scale of what the outcome of his actions is, I guess. Yeah.
All right, and then finally, the story, the plot, like which one do you like better?
The second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think it's improves upon the first one. The first one's just a home invasion movie with a twist because we've got our lead is the home invader. Technically, it got invaded by a worse person before he got there.
Yeah.
Which I love. But it's essentially just a home invasion movie with some little Saw and a little Hostel dabbled in. That's what the first movie is, with kind of a fun antagonist that runs around in a gimp mask. And
have you ever seen a gimp mask in the wild?
Live and in real? Yes.
Interesting. I feel like I haven't, and I've been to some places.
Yeah, so I was downtown Royal Oak for some sort of like outdoor festival thing or something.
Art Speeds and Eats?
I don't think it was Art Speed. It was something else.
Okay.
And Noir Leather was opened up,
and okay.
There were some gimps hanging out in front, dancing and grooving. I think they had glow sticks and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
they looked happy.
I've never, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't lived as full a life as I thought, but...
Yeah. Well, it's probably
just one thing I've missed out on.
It's probably for the best that you haven't had an intimate run-in with a gimp. Right?
Yeah, because I've never searched it out.
Right. Well, you're not seeking out the gimp.
Right.
You don't want the gimp to come to you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like I will say that I do I feel like a gimp, like it is like a consent thing. Like most people that dress up as gimps.
Looking out. Yeah. I'm not judging. I don't care.
No, but most people they would ask for
Yes. You don't want to be gimped. You want to choose to be gimp.
Yeah. So I can see why I wouldn't have run in because you're not just gonna run.
It's not your choice.
Gimps they don't have the personality to just start running up on people.
They're not doms.
All right. So you went 2 out of 3 to the collection.
Yeah, and I think that's fair.
A couple of social commentary things I want to, and then we're going to get out of here.
Yes. We should.
We talked a little bit about the main character of Arkin. He is kind of the blue collar man, and I do think it's important to remember when this took place, because this took place 2008, 2009, which would have been around the time of kind of like the bank bailouts. This would have been around the housing crisis.
Very, very good call with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so a lot of it is, I don't think it's necessarily about those things. The first movie especially, though, is where the social commentary exists. But I do think these characters live in that world that we lived in in 2008. And if you remember 2008, basically what happened for you youngins out there who may not remember and may end up making the same mistakes we did, or the same mistakes we didn't make but had to pay for. The banks needed a bailout around this time. Yep. And guess who had to bail them out? We did.
Yep.
Because according to everybody, if we didn't bail them out, it was going to be mass chaos.
Yes. The world was going to fall apart.
The world was going to fall apart. And guess what? You know what? We bailed them out, and everything went fine for everybody. But it doesn't always work out the best in the end. No. But I will say, it does take place against them. And he's a guy. He's a working class guy. He's trying to get ahead. And this might be why I give the nod to the characters in the first movie for me, is because I like the backdrop that it's set against, because he's trying to survive for this family that's not necessarily like they've moved away, they've grown apart, but he wants them to live, to have a good life.
No, you're right. Yeah.
And I've always liked stories about people on the cusps of society that are just trying to survive,
like the fringe of.
Yes. Yeah. Reminds me a little bit of the Paul Walker movie around this time that I really like, Running Scared.
I like that movie too, actually.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So I do like that aspect of it. So as far as social commentary goes, yes, there is that. There's a little bit about the Collector himself, I think, with the whole insect angle, like him treating them as not even just less than human, just like nothing.
There's an element of like I mean, he's obsessed with spiders specifically,
right?
And so obviously, like spider's web, insect getting caught in the web. The web is a trap. He's creating traps. It's like he wants to be a spider. Like there's this weird he equates himself to that or something.
Right.
It's interesting, but he's also you also see him like out of costume early in the movie
as the exterminator.
In the first
right?
movie, yeah, he's a like an Orkin man or something like. And I mean, you don't know it at the time, but like he's got a mask, like a safety, like a PPE mask. But so he's got like a day job, or at least he's like pretending to have a day job, I guess.
I've always felt like he's a rich person.
You think so?
Yeah. I've always and
he masquerades as like okay,
and so he probably got a job at Orkin because he probably knows his shit about insects.
He could get one easy and then like infiltrate this family. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
That's always how I've read him.
He's probably well-to-do. Well, you'd have to be. Look at the shit he built in this warehouse.
I feel like this is one of those things. I've
neglected rich kid.
He's a rich kid. I've always felt like he's a rich kid looking for a thrill, and like one of the ways he feels alive is by like killing people.
Money couldn't buy him. He has too much money. Like there's no
world's most dangerous game.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's always how I read him, at least.
I like that. And then, like, obviously, like, maybe as a kid he had some sort of obsession with insects for whatever reason. Like, he liked watching them in the garden or something. He was neglected by the parents. He spent too much time out there watching, and he'd see the spiders.
Does the whole magnifying glass with the.
He'd see the spiders, pick apart their prey, and he's like, "That looks exciting. I want to do that." Oh, I like that. That's good, Tim. Well done. Way to psychoanalyze this fictional.
So that's
man, oh man, yeah. Hey, I like both. I think I think the collection is the superior of the two movies. To be honest with you,
but I think you have to see the.
You got to see the Collector.
This kind of feels like, and to go back to the Terrifier, this like, don't just watch Terrifier 2. You need to watch Terrifier 1 to get Terrifier 2. Like
that's the thing is, like, it's the lesser, but I think you still have to watch it. I do think the Collector is better than Terrifier 1, though. When you compare 1 and 2,
I would,
I think the quality jump from Terrifier 1 to Terrifier 2 is far greater than Collector to Collection.
Yeah, I'm thinking back.
That's my personal opinion.
I might be a little closer in what the quality of them, but
I think I like Collector a little bit more than you do.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
That's
cool.
Fair.
And I think the Collector is on a bunch of free services. The Collector. Either way,
I saw them both for free.
Okay, cool.
Without pirating. I think Tubi's got at least one of them. Yeah.
What did I watch the collection on? Who's to say?
Hey, who's to say?
Excuse me. All right, Willie.
You watched it on Music Choice, which I made up. Where did that even come from?
Cool TV, the Collector TV. All right, so we're gonna start our summer series, and I'm really excited about this one.
Yes, me too.
We are going to be... So part of the reason I want to do this is it's Universal Monsters. You have wanted to talk about Universal Monsters on the podcast for a while. I've always put it off. I am going to Epic Universe, the new theme park, in October down in Florida. And they have a land, like a Universal Monsters land, that's going to be based around the classic monsters.
Real quick, the collection is on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And for Prime members, it's free. Collector is Tubi.
Gotcha.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So you had brought up this, like, let's talk about some Universal Monster movies in the fall. Yeah. And I said, and now I went, no. I want to talk about it in the summer because I want to, like, get excited.
Pump yourself up for sure.
For the fall. So
that's great.
I have two options for you.
Okay.
Right now, when it comes to our summer series, and it usually works out to be about 5 episodes. And I think if we record bi-weekly as we do, it will work out perfectly.
Barring any sort of unforeseen complications, which hopefully
happen.
Not. But
and if that, we'll figure it out. We'll do it.
All right. We'll make it happen.
We'll deliver. Much like we did with, I think, this, right? I think we pushed this back because we wanted to do the Val Kilmer thing. Yeah, that's right.
Yep. We had to make sure. Yep. Yeah. Take care of Val.
So here's the first option.
All right.
We don't want to just do Dracula, Frankenstein, Mummy, like
Boring.
the first movies.
Boring.
You can find those.
Yep.
The first option is this. You pick a classic Universal monster, and I'm talking about
Mummy, Dracula.
Frankenstein, Frankenstein's a monster. Dracula,
Wolfman.
Mummy, Wolfman, Invisible Man.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You pick one of those.
All right.
And I guess we couldn't do all of them, but you know what I mean. We do 5 of them.
All right, so I pick a monster.
And then I pick a sequel for us to watch. And I'm not going to lie, the majority of them are going to be the second sequel. But there are a couple where because I'm not going to pick Bride of Frankenstein. Like, that one's another one. I think that's the best Universal Monster movie of all time.
That's the second sequel to...
That's the first sequel. It's the second in the Frankenstein series.
Film. Okay.
Yes.
I thought there was one. There was not one in between, really? Oh, okay.
No.
Cool.
So I wouldn't pick that one because, like, that one to me that's the in my opinion, it's the best of the Universal monster movies.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes.
So I wouldn't do that. I would pick. There's another one in that series. I love the Frankenstein series. Anyway, so you pick a monster, then I pick a sequel, and we watch that. We talk about it. The second option is later in the 1940s, there were these movies either called Monster Rallies or Monster Mashes. Mm-hmm. They were big crossover movies between the Universal monsters. House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and they'd all get together. They'd have a monster mash. There were 3 of those, and then there was also Abbott and Costello.
Yep.
And then I would end it with the most recent of those, that style of film, Van Helsing.
Oh, man.
So that would be your 5 movies. So
I thought I knew my decision going into this, because you posed this question to me before.
So those are your 2 options for our summer series. And there's no pressure because either one's going to be funny.
I know. What hurts, though, is Van Helsing, because I'm going with option A.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about Van Helsing because it's so funny. But I'm going with option A because I'd like a little bit of a taste of each thing.
Okay.
My only question to you is, having seen significantly more Universal monster movies than I have, I'm sure.
Right.
Because I'm not even sure I've seen... I don't think I've seen all the first installments of these.
You have a basic understanding of each of the monsters.
Sure,
yeah.
Of course. My question to you is, since we're doing sequels that you'll be picking from the monster, in general, how important is it that I watch the first film or the preceding films for the, like, how much continuity is there between these Universal movies? I guess for the listeners too. Like,
I think, like, thinking back on it,
like Frankenstein. If I watch the 3rd Frankenstein film, do I need to watch the
movie
first 2?
between movie? No, I think. Excuse me. I'm like, I think you can get away with a Wikipedia search.
Okay.
Of that, Frankenstein is the toughest one, I think, in my opinion. All
right, but like the Mummy.
It goes for me. It goes Frankenstein and the Mummy is like the second toughest. Other than that, though, I think you can figure it out.
All right, okay.
I have faith in you to figure it out. That's part of the reason why I wanted to do this.
Okay.
Is because I thought it would be kind of fun, and like I can fill in the blanks for you too.
Good. Cool.
So
we're gonna do option A. Van Helsing sounds so much fun, but
we can still do that someday.
I would very much like to just dabble throughout the crossovers sound great too, but I have so many blind spots with regard to Universal monsters that the reason why I wanted to do this, I think I'm the one who brought it up initially, is because I'm trying to fill some blind spots, and I know you're such a fan of Universal monsters that you can help guide me along a bit throughout this this journey. Now, I've seen some. I believe me, I've seen, Creature.
Yeah.
I've seen the first. I think I've seen all 3 Creature movies at some point.
And the nice thing too is, if you do decide, like, okay, I want to watch the first one before this. Like, they're only like an hour long, most of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. No,
the longest one is the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and we're not doing it. Like, Creature from the Lagoon is like an hour and a half, and you're like, oh my god, is this like
what a drag?
Fucking 4 hours? What are we doing? The underwater scenes in that movie, just like, oh my god.
You know the one I've seen the most times, which is insane. The Creature Walks Among Us, the 3rd one. I've seen that the most because for some reason we had a VHS copy of it at home. It's not very good.
So I want to put you on a spot a second time now that we've decided this. What is the first monster you want to do? And I'm going to pick the sequel for you.
I've chosen that as well.
Okay.
The first monster I want to do is the Mummy.
That is
the first monster I want to do.
Okay.
The Mummy.
So
you tell me.
Generally, the second one is considered the best one.
Ooh, then I'm in luck.
Yeah, so I think that's what we're going to do. And like I said, there are a couple where I don't want to do this.
How many Mummy movies are there?
All right.
In the Universal canon of...
I think 4 of the... we're talking about the original monster.
The run. First run.
Yeah. Let me be sure on
Not
this.
the Tom Cruise one.
Oh, my God. All right, so the Mummy franchise right now. The original series, so there's the Mummy, the Mummy's Hand, the Mummy's Tomb, the Mummy's Ghost, the Mummy's curse. So there's 5, and then there's Abbott and Costello meet the mummy.
Yeah.
The one I was leaning towards, maybe I do want to do the mummy's ghost.
Well, you think about it.
No, I want to announce it on the air so people get a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Willie, while I'm doing this,
sure,
tell the good people.
By all means, please, write in. Tell me what monster I should choose next. I will take your opinion under advisement. I'm not saying I'm going to go with it, but you can do that by emailing us horrormovieyearbook@gmail.com. We are on. I'm not on Twitter anymore, so Tim may or may not be on Twitter.
I am not on Twitter. We are on. You know what? We're not because I can't log in anymore.
You tried to today.
Yeah, Elon has. Oh, did you get a notification?
Yeah,
I did try to. Yeah.
I have opted out of Twitter, but for those that have not, we're dormant on Twitter. No, in all seriousness, email us. It's best bet. Yep.
All right. You know what? Screw it. We are going to do the mummy's ghost. And the reason I want to do this is because I want to talk a little bit about, I think this will be our best chance to talk about Lon Chaney Jr. a little bit, because we did talk about him for Spider Baby. But we will revisit him. And this one is only 60 minutes long. It's a later sequel. And this... Honestly, too, this will give us a chance because there are a couple of, I know, second movies in the series I want to talk about, and this will give us a chance to talk about a later movie, like a 1940s movie. So
The Mummy's Ghost.
The Mummy's Ghost. And what I'm going to do is I have the DVD set. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to give it to you so you have a whole.
Where can people watch this one again?
You're going to have to rent it or have a DVD set.
Okay.
And that, unfortunately, is the case with all of these movies for the good people out there.
Okay.
Now, I will say... These are older movies. There may be certain nefarious ways you can find these.
Okay.
But The Mummy's Ghost is what we will be watching.
But you are not, yes.
I'm not condoning those ways.
Excellent.
So, all right. Take care, everybody, and we will see you next time.